Action.
Hello. Imagine finding a great restaurant and telling your friends exactly where it is without using a word or a map. This task seems almost impossible at first. However, honeybees do something surprisingly similar when it finds food. In fact, this research on bee communication was a part of the work that won Nobel Prize in 1973. So, honeybees share the location through a remarkable behavior called the waggle dance. Today, I'll be talking about what the waggle dance is and how it tells direction and distance, and lastly, why it is so important to the bee colony. Let me begin with what the waggle dance actually is. So the process begins when a worker bee leaves the hive, searching for nectar or pollen, and then discovers a useful food source. After returning to the hive, the bee performs a special behavior called waggle dance. According to David Turpie of NC State University, the waggle dance consists of two main parts, the waggle run and the circling motion that creates figure 8 pattern. So during the waggle run, the bee goes straight forward while shaking its body, and then it circles back and repeats its movement so that other bees can interpret the pattern of the movement. Now that we know what the waggle dance is, let me look at how the movement actually tells other bees where to go. So waggle dance represents the food location by encoding the direction and distance of the food location. So first, it shows direction. Carl von Frisch, the Nobel Prize winner, explains that the direction of the straight run tells the direction of the food source relative to the sun. So for example, if the waggle run goes straight upward, the food source is right in the direction of the sunlight. And second, it shows distance. The National Geographic writer Jennifer Holland notes that the duration of the waggle run is one of the clearest indicators of how far away the food source is. In simple terms, the longer the waggle run lasts, the further away bees need to travel. Because of this very sophisticated communication system, bees can leave the hive with very detailed information about where to search for food. Now that I've explained how the dance communicates direction and distance information, let me turn to why this communication is so important to the bee colony. The importance of the waggle dance is not simply because it helps the bees find food source faster. According to Jennifer Keller, a renowned bee researcher, the waggle dance helps turn many individual bees into one single coordinated foraging system. And also, Thomas D. Seeley of Cornell University states that this shared information helps foraging bees distribute themselves efficiently among many food sources. Now that I've covered why the waggle dance matters so much, let me conclude by reviewing some main points I've talked about. So today, I've explained three main points. First, what the waggle dance is, and second, how it encodes direction and distance information within the dance moves, and lastly, why it matters so much to the bee colonies. The honeybees tell food location through a dance that tells other bees which way to go and how far away to travel. So the angle of the dance means direction, while duration of the dance represents the distance. Honeybees may be small insects, but their communication system shows that such a precise and sophisticated communication can be made even without any words. So the next time you see a bee near a flower, you may remember that it is not just collecting flowers or nectars. It may be carrying some important message back to the hive, like a tiny little living map. These are my citations, and thanks for listening.